Hey guys, it is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. Hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. We're on the second day of our master topic, which we'll get to in just a second. I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, your host. It's great to be with you, whether you're with me at 11:40 p.m., 11:40 a.m., 3 a.m., 3 p.m., 6 a.m., 6 p.m. Doesn't really matter. Thank you so much for being with me and checking all this great content out. Do visit my site, believemeachieve.com, for more of my amazing, inspiring creations, guys. All right. So let's move on with the master topic for the week, which is basically why kindness is important. And our granular for tonight is how to be kind, right? You might have heard the song before. Don't be cruel, be kind. So I think a lot of people don't quite understand that kindness is the key. It's like the gateway to the world, because when we're kind to ourselves and we're kind to others, it makes a huge, when I say huge, it makes a huge difference. All right, guys. So what we're going to be talking about is all about kindness, in case you're wondering. So we're going to talk about how you are to be kind, because I know that sounds like something, well, just be nice. But what does it mean to be nice? I mean, what does nice even mean? Does nice just like mean to be polite? Like, what does nice mean? And I think that's probably a big problem for a lot of people, because they don't know what it means. And so I'm here to tell you that being nice is not all of it. Okay, there's more to it than that. All right, so let's just dive right in, shall we? All right. So first thing is focus on others. All right, focus on others. Now, I don't mean not to focus on yourself, but what I mean is you need to make sure that you are including others. I'm not saying to put others before you all the time, but I am saying, because a lot of people, they're selfish and they don't think about anybody but themselves. So you want to make sure that you focus on others and you realize that you're not that important and that they are, especially when you're around them. You want to show them some respect. And you do that by becoming genuinely interested in other people, just like Dale Carnegie said. So another thing you can do when we think about focusing, when I say, first I probably should cover this really. So how do you focus on others to be kind, right? How do you do that? Well, it's basically in part the feelings. So support your kindness is something which others will find to be that way. And kindness benefits both parties. That's the most important thing about kindness. All right, so you can offer to help. Maybe you have a skill. Now, I don't say you should be giving your skill away for free all the time, but what I am saying is that maybe you can help them. There could be something you could do, and that could be a huge thing. So think about that. Think about how someone might find your help to be supportive of them. Now, it doesn't have to be anything big. It could be talking to them about something. It might be a challenge they're having, or it might be helping them with something physical. I don't know. So I think a lot of people don't really understand the fact that being kind is a choice. When we choose to be kind, guess what happens? Other people reciprocate by being kind back. Well, that's just a real interesting thing. Yeah, other people respond by being kind back. So that might sound like something that is, how can I say, crazy, but it's really not, ladies and gentlemen. It is absolutely the truth. Okay. You might wonder what it means to be kind. And I can tell you that being kind is about what you do. Okay. And being kind might seem like something that is hard, but really it's not. You're kind not because you're trying to get something. See, a lot of people elicit these actions because they think, oh, gee, if I play this card, then the person's just going to do whatever I want. No, 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 no. That's not what this is. This is not manipulating people. Okay, I want to be very, very clear about that. This is not that. Another thing that's really important is just be there to listen, right? Listening means that you're giving your undivided attention to that person and you are listening with both ears. You're looking at them. You're not looking to speak. You're just listening. And when you listen, somebody can tell. Did you know that? People can tell when we're listening. Yes, people can tell when we are really listening. And you might say, well, gee, how do I know? It's verbal cues. These can include things like asking open-ended questions, paraphrasing or summarizing what you said. You're listening because you want to listen. Okay? And I will tell you that it's very, very important. Very, very important. And I want to tell you that listening is about you making the choice to really hear what they're saying. Remember something. We actually, in the realm of communication, I should tell you, the most important thing is what we don't say. Then it's how we say it. And the last thing, which is the least important, is what we say. So what we don't say is very important. So while you're there, make sure you're not doing this, right? You're listening. You could be taking notes. One thing you might say, the person, I've done this sometimes, like, I understand that you have some great stuff to share with me. Would you mind if I took some notes just to make sure I don't miss anything? Oh, sure. And they'll be impressed by that because when you take an active stance, people notice. Another thing you could do is you could send care packages. Now, this could be somebody at school, could be a friend, relative, parent, guardian. And so the thing you might be asking me, John, is what is a care package? Parcel of food, money, or luxury items sent to a loved one who's maybe away, like at school. It can range from a lot of things. I remember when I was at school, my mom would send me a box. And I remember going down to the mailroom. That's where it was. And then, you go to your box and then I'd go to the mailroom and I'd say, hey, do you have anything for me? And they said, yes. Or we put something in your box and I'd see the notice, I'd give it to them and get a great big box and take that box. I'm like, what do you got? Oh, my mom sent me something. Oh, wow, you're lucky. And then I'd go back to my dorm, open it up. It was like almost like a mini Christmas. And I would go through the things like it could be stuff like could be deodorant. It could be things like snacks. Didn't really have a lot of food there because, I went to the calf and stuff like that. But so it could be things like that. It could be things like it could be tissues. Could be Q-tips. I'm trying to remember what else my mom sent. Some other types of candies. Like I love these Swedish fish. Those were always fun for me. So a care package is a way of saying that you really are thinking about that person. And sometimes my mom would put money in it too. So that was always helpful. It was like there was an envelope in there. And the envelope was usually cash. which they're always concerned when they sent it. Did I get the care package? Because they sent me cash and it wasn't like $10. You know, it was either 50 or $100. And it was great to get that. And my mom would send care packages to me. I would say maybe once a month, sometimes more. My mom would call and say, "Oh, I'm sending you a care package." Like, "Oh, great. What else do you need?" And I say, "I want Twizzlers." She would send Twizzlers, granola bars, and it was a nice big box. And so it was a lot of fun going there and getting that box, and just, two things. One, knowing I didn't have to buy anything. Two, knowing that, my parents cared about me and they sent this to me. They were really concerned that I had food and that I had resources. So that was really a nice thing. So send care packages. It could be to a senior or somebody. Maybe you could make something, you could bring it to them. There's lots of things you could do, right? So think about that and think about how that can really help someone, right? So send a care package. Stay connected. Whether that's with your smart device, whether it's picking up your POTS, your plain old telephone service phone at home, whether it's sending them a letter, an email, maybe it's a video chat online, a Zoom, or what have you. Stay connected. I know every single day, and I know a lot of sons and daughters don't do this, but every single day since I left for college, and even when I came back, I would always call my parents up every morning. So at college I was busy, but I would tell you, this probably started, I think it started when I left college, actually. I was living on my own, and I was calling my mom every day. I didn't see them. So, and that was great. And if I don't call, they always think something's wrong, but they know that I'll call sometime during the day. So that's something we both look forward to. So stay connected. Tell them you love them, not just on their birthday or a holiday. When it is their birthday, I call and I sing happy birthday. So that's always a great thing. I send my mom a card. I send my dad a card on different holidays and things like that. If I'm not with them, because I'm with them at a lot of holidays. But on Mother's Day, I send my mom flowers. Father's Day, I send my dad some, delicious fruit. So lots of things you can do. So stay connected. And, I know when I bought my dad this thing from the company that sells these different fruits and crackers or chocolates, it wasn't like I spent hundreds of dollars. I think at the time it might have only been like $50 or $60. But the feeling I got when I was able to do that, and then when I talked to them, like, they always say, "Oh, don't send anything. We don't want anything." But this was something that they really appreciated. It was a gift that showed you cared. So stay connected. All right. And communicate with all your loved ones. And I miss my my dad's mom and father, which would be my grandmother and grandfather. I also miss my mom's mother and and mother, right? My mom's mother and father, which is my other grandmother and grandfather. And I don't get choked up a lot of times on the show, but I just want to say to them that I am very grateful for everything you've done for me in my life. I know sometimes we might have not always got along with things, but I know you cared a lot about me. And I want to also take a moment to recognize my dad's father. My dad's father, which had been my name, Grandpa Morley, he died when I was only in third grade. was on Thanksgiving Eve. I'm not going to tell you the whole story because I've told you the story before, but he died on Thanksgiving Eve. And I was at the hospital. And if you guys remember from other shows, I've told you about it. But I want to say thank you to them. What I hope that you guys see up there. I know that you're proud of me and all the things I've done. And I wish you were here today. I wish that you're here today. Because I miss you. And I know you're not coming back, but I miss you. And I remember how supportive everybody was on both sides. And I remember how both of them loved me on both sides, all four grandparents. My grandfather on my dad's side was very strict to my dad. My grandmother was very strict to me, and I remember my grandfather always telling her, her name was Wilhelmina. He was called it Minnie. Like, Minnie, you need to lighten up on him. He's only a kid. But as I went into my teens, didn't know that I was going to be helping to run the family business. And I grew up very quick, in a sense, for responsibilities. So I can't urge what it is to stay connected. I know when I was at college, and I know when I was at college, it was my freshman year. And I know when I was there on the weekends, the first thing I would do is I would usually call my grandmother first on my mom's side, on my dad's side. And just tell her how my classes were going and things like that. Then I'd call my parents. They'd tell me they're going on my favorite restaurant or something like that. And I remember them saying, we're going to, it won't be long. I'm going to come and see you graduate. I didn't have my grandfather on my dad's side when I was in college. Just had my grandmother, 2 grandmothers, and my 1 grandfather. And I wish right now that all of them could see what I'm doing, not for any reason to brag, but just so they could see what I do. And I know that my life would have been a little easier if they were still here. Anytime I needed something, my grandmother lived literally right around the corner. When I was at college, I called her all the time. And that was something. And I had my grandmother. I was very blessed. I had my both grandmothers for a very long time after I graduated college. And I on my dad's side, I called my one grandmother and grandfather all the time because they were right down the street. My other grandparents I did call, but I called the other ones more just because they were closer. And I know, like I said, when I was at college, I remember telling my grandmother, how's school? Is great. I said, I'm just going down just around the mailroom. She's like, oh, what are you going to get a mail? I said, yeah, my mom's supposedly sending a care package. Oh, that's great. So you can send care packages? I said, yes. She says, well, you should give me your address. I said, why? Well, I want to send you something. And my grandmother sent me something. That time, I think it was things like fruit roll-ups and other stuff, or fruit money. And I remember how staying connected with them. When I was younger, my mom always would say, you have to, stay connected. And I'm glad that they instilled it in me, because I'm so grateful that I call them. I mean, I call my parents every day. I call them in the morning. Sometimes I call them at night. And I remember right after my grandmother died, year, maybe not even a few months after she died, I remember picking up the phone and just without thought, at that time you didn't need 10 digits, it was just 7 digits at that time, dialing the 7-digit phone number. And then when I dialed it, I got that dee. The number you have called is not in service. If you feel you've reached this recording in error, please hang up and retry the call again. So I'd hang up and retry the call again. And I'm like, I wonder where Grandma is. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. Grandma died. I remember being at home one time. And I remember picking up our cordless phone. And so you call, I said, I'm calling Grandma. My mom didn't say anything. And she didn't know what to say. I picked up the phone and I dialed the number. And my dad, nobody said anything. And I remember hanging up the phone. And I remember thinking it was a dream and that the phone was going to work later. Somehow I got in my head that I needed to go down to her house and tell her her phone was off the hook, something was wrong. I remember driving down there. And just as I got down, because it was like right down the street, or at that time I could even walk, it wasn't far from us, like 5 or 10 minute walk. And I remember getting right to the driveway. And I remember saying, that's not Grandma's car. It hit me. I said, Grandma died. I was like, that's right, she died. She died last year. And I guess the reason I'm bringing this up is staying connected is so very important. When my grandmother was alive, her and her husband, my grandfather, had tickets to a place called Paper Mill Playhouse, which I love to go to plays. And I remember after my grandfather died, which was, like I told you, like in 3rd grade, I remember after that, she still kept the tickets. And I remember she would take my mom to the play. And then my mom said, you really should take, they called me Johnny too. And she said, well, we can't, he's in school. She's like, well, just tell the school that you're taking him out somewhere. Well, how often do I have to do that? Every 2 months. And so she called the school up and said, I need to pick him up at such and such a time. And I remember getting picked up. I pulled in the front of the school. It wasn't the most covert thing. Got in the car with my grandmother and my mom. And then I remember driving off to Millburn to the Paper Mill Playhouse. We would go to a place called, I think it was Charlie. What was the name of the restaurant? I'm trying to remember. Well, now they have a place called FM Kirby House, which we later went to because they opened up. But Charlie Brown's. It was a place called Charlie Brown's in Millburn. I don't know. I wonder if I wonder if Charlie Brown's is still open. Um, Charlie Brown's in Milburn, New Jersey. And oh, they are permanently, just checked. They're permanently closed. I remember being there. That was a lot of fun. So we had a lot of memories. And then when my mom, got busy and stuff with our store and stuff, she couldn't go. So my grandmother would still pick me up. And so why do I say this to you? I say this to you because you want to make sure that you live life. You want to make sure that you tell your family, your friends, how much you love them. You want to stay connected. You know why? They're not here forever. And when you stay connected, not only does it help them, but it helps you. So realize that you always need other people. No matter how smart, how strong, how resilient you are, you always need other people. Expect good things to happen. Expect them to happen, and guess what? They will. Smile. Smile. When you smile, other people smile back. And my last point for tonight is give genuine compliments. I know a lot of people want to get compliments, but give genuine ones, because when they're genuine, you can feel in the heart. You can feel that that's a compliment that somebody really meant. So tonight, I haven't done this in a while, except on their birthdays and stuff. I want to dedicate this show to all my grandparents. That'll be my grandpa and grandma Morley and my grandmother and grandfather Fusco. I don't think about you every day, but I do miss you. And it's times like when I see other people are connecting, and I'm like, I can't. I know right now that you're probably smiling and telling me I shouldn't be crying. I know my grandmother on my dad's side, we had even had a song. The song was "You Light Up My Life." And I remember I gave her this little music box with some grass on it. And it had a little swing and a little teddy bear on it. It was glued to it. And when you wound up the crank underneath and you let it go, swing would swing back and forth. Tell you, Boone, you light up my life. And my grandmother said, you know why that song's so important? I says, why? It's a great song. She's like, because you are the light of my life. She said, I'm the joy. I'm the light of her life. You don't hear that too often. Not all my shows are sad, but I want you guys to just take this moment to stay connected with the people in your life, regardless of whether they're younger than you or they're older than you. Stay connected. And if you have any grudges, don't live with them. There's not a grudge, but there was only one person in my life that I wish, maybe two, two people I wish I was still connected with. One was my best friend from college, and we broke away many years, probably a couple of years, 3-4 years ago. And the other one was a gentleman I met only about 7, 8, 9 years ago. And I don't hold any grudges to either of them. The first person, the friend, I think we've kind of made our closure that life went one way, my life went another, and there's just no room to even talk to me. The second one was a little sadder. Very pompous, arrogant person. And that person I wish that I would get closure on. I wish there would be a meeting just to say, hey, John, I'm sorry, or how you doing? But I don't know if that's ever going to happen. So where I leave you here is that it's important to treasure the friendships and the relationships that you make. You don't always need to be right. Having that friendship, having that kindness in your heart, having that feeling like just being able to buy my dad that fruit and chocolate thing. I mean, you might not think that's such a big deal, but to me, it meant something because that was the first Father's Day I couldn't really spend with him. I wasn't going to see him. It's in another state. And when I got the phone call that they got it and they were so happy, and my mom said my dad was like crying. I know right now they're very happy to have me as a son. And I know I want to do so much more for them. They're roughly in their 80s now. I don't know how many years they have. But I'm vowing that every day I want to make it better. I want to be able to spend more time with them. As you guys know, I'm going for my next other degree. I want them to see me get my next master's. And I want them to see me get my PhD. Not to prove anything, but just to make them proud. I know they're already proud. And I know you might say, gee, if they weren't here, they'd still be proud of you. It's not the same getting a degree if you can't share it with people. Not being able to share it with my grandfather was very hard. I know he would have been so happy. The last thing I just want to tell you about him is every first Friday he used to pick me up from school. And he knew I was into electronics and wiring and all that. And he'd pick me up. We'd go to our local hardware store, or we'd go to Chandler Rickles. And I remember the first time he says, John, what do you want to build? I said, what do you mean? He says, well, what do you want to make? You want to wire something up? I said, okay. So what do you want to build? I said, I don't know, I guess a doorbell. All right, we'll pick out the doorbell you want. Get the wire, get the battery. And I was like, went home to their house to have lunch. And then we went over to my parents' house. He spent a couple hours with me, and we wired things together, and he just was so supportive of me. Not that my parents aren't, but my grandfather was supportive in a way that nurtured who I am and my creativity. So I tell you to nurture your connections. I tell you to be kind to those in your life, because when you're kind to those in your life, more kindness will be returned to you. Again, I wish them all the best. I miss them. Probably a while before I talk again with the holidays, but I just want to tell you, Grandma, Grandpas, I miss you. You guys were all the greatest grandparents. And you were there for me in different ways. I remember it was Christmas, and my grandparents, a week before Christmas, would start building my display with trains and everything. And I didn't learn what they did for me until I was almost going to college. I'm like, you did this every single year, like every single year. They would roll newspaper and they would put it in the display, and they'd crush it up several nights, and then they'd put all the snow on it. And I remember all the houses they had on it. And I remember the train they had for me. And it was amazing. So I say thank you to all of you. Thank you for your love that you shared with me. Thank you for always making me a priority in your life. So like I said to you, ladies and gentlemen, please be kind. Be kind to everyone in this world. You can agree to disagree, but be kind to people. The kindness will be felt in your heart. That kindness will attract other people. And those are the kind of people I think you'll want to be around. So be kind. There's lots of ways you can be kind. Doesn't matter what age you are. Doesn't matter what part of the world you're in. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what culture you're in. Be kind. Not because you have to, but because you should want to. When you're kind, this feeling of dopamine just takes off in your head. It makes you feel amazing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, wow, this has been a little bit of a breathtaking show tonight. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your morning. You know I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It has been an amazing privilege, pleasure, and honor to be with you tonight. And I hope you guys will check back all my great content at believemeachieve.com. I'll catch you guys real soon. And I love you guys, Grandma and Grandpa. I will never forget you.